Johnny Mac, football 24/7 after open practice to the public down at Lincoln Financial Field. I'm Zander Krause. I'm sitting in for Tone DeShields tonight on football 24/7. John, I'll kick it right to you. What'd you see down there at open practice? And more importantly, what did the public see?
Yeah, about 30,000 fans showed up, according to the Eagles, and A.J. Brown was pretty excited about it. He was not used to practicing that with that many fans in attendance. So I think the offense got a little bit fired up, and maybe Nick Sirianni wanted a little bit of spark because anybody who's been following along, the defense has kind of dominated this summer. And they broke out the running game today. They broke out the RPO game, Xander. And typically you don't see that all that much in practice. And I got to tell you, Jalen Hurts looked phenomenal running those RPOs. There are about 4 of them on one. He just completely fooled Brandon Graham to the point that BG just turned around and applauded as he was scampering down the field. And Jalen, I noticed it this spring, and we kept asking him. We kept saying, "Did you lose any weight?" Because he looked thinner, and he said, "Nope, didn't lose any weight." And then he finally admitted it was last week. He didn't lose any weight. He's still about 220 pounds, but kind of remade his body, gave up, as he called it, the sugary drinks. Likes lemonade, gave it up. He looked even quicker than he was before. So as far as the running game, huge positives. The passing game, look, they were down to their 4th left tackle today. Raven Clark got hurt in practice yesterday, so Jordan Mailata still has a concussion. Andre Dillard still has a concussion. The Raven Clark hurt his hamstring. And really, if you go back to Brett Toth, he'd be the 4th left tackle, but he's on the PUP list because he tore his ACL in week 18. So they were starting Coyote Awasika at left tackle, which is really their 5th left tackle. So, they had the one big pass play, which people may have seen because there were fans here, and it's interesting because they're allowed to video things that we can't, which makes no sense, but don't get me started on that. But Jalen had a nice throw, about a 30-yard throw to A.J. Brown. James Bradbury had great coverage. Brown is a heck of a player, though. He made the grab. Marcus Epps bearing down, so that was exciting. But, with no left tackle, and you're so deep on the depth chart, they weren't consistent throwing the ball. So they went to the run game, and it was spectacular. I mean, that the defense, as I said, which has been great pretty much all summer, they looked like tops. They were spinning like tops trying to deal with this RPO game. And then Jason Huntley, just on a traditional running play, went for about 60 yards, so he had a big gain as well. So good day for the running game offensively, bad day for the run defense.
John, I'm going to let the viewers know we're going to keep it nice and short tonight. Johnny Mac's working hard. He's down at Lincoln Financial Field still right now. He'll be back in the chair on Birds 365 in the morning. But I do want to talk about the quarterback. He's always the talk of the town. I briefly got on social media tonight and did see that big throw to A.J. Brown down the right side. You talked a lot about RPOs. That was like a big kind of a talk of the town last year, early in the year, the RPO play. How is Jalen? How did he look tonight? Is it a stock up day? Is it a stock down day? Is it an even day? What did you see from QB1 today, further than the A.J. Brown throw that everyone's talking about?
Definitely a stock up day, but stock up because of the running game. Remember, the run game is going to be a big part of this offense when we really start, when we kick things off September 11th in Detroit. It's going to be a big part of the offense. And as I said, he looks quicker. Remember how good he was in the run game last year.
Yeah, sure.
And he looks quicker. He looks more explosive because he, as I said, he remade his body a little bit in the offseason. And then from the passing game, he had the one big play, and that was pretty much it. There was another slip screen to A.J. Brown as well that went for decent yardage. But again, I'm not as concerned over the past couple days because, I mean, they can't block right now with no left tackle. And obviously, when Jordan Mailata comes back, that issue ceases to exist. And the fact that you not only lose Jordan but Andre and then LaRaven Clark on top of it, I mean, that's just bad luck. But they're all minor injuries. It's not like it's going to be a long-term thing. So I wouldn't be terribly concerned about that.
Yeah, and I did see. I don't know if I did see that the Eagles signed a tackle. I don't know if that was today or yesterday. Is that
No,
just
it was today. Yeah, they signed Jared Williams, who's an undrafted free agent. They originally signed after the draft, played at Miami, played at Houston as well in college. And they cut him July 27th. So they cut him right before training camp began because they wanted to sign some other players and they just had to make some space. So it makes sense. They needed a body for practice, and
right?
he was with them the entire off season, so they're familiar with him. So they brought him back, and he was the third team left tackle today because, hey, you're really up against it when you have that many injuries at the same position.
Yeah, John, I want to give a shout out to Philly faithful. You said 30,000 strong down at the link for a practice in early August. AJ Brown was all jacked up because I'm sure the fan base he had in Tennessee was nothing like the fan base here in Philadelphia, which I think is a major nod to the city. But what was it like? Bring us inside. What was it like down inside the link today? I saw there was a lot of hype, a lot of people who were just really happy to see their Eagle team back on the turf. What was it like down there at the link tonight?
I'm sure. I remember when they started doing these things when Chip was here, and there were like 50,000. I mean, so I'm kind of jaded from that aspect. It seems to get a little bit smaller each year, but fans now are used to it, and they get used to the practice, and they know. Look, I think it was 97 minutes. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but yeah, even when you can bring 30,000 people together to watch a practice, it tells you about the passion of the city. But I do go back to those Chip days when this place was packed for these open practices.
Yeah, once you get that in your mind, it's tough to get that in your mind. Well, hey, I mean, I'm sitting behind the scenes. I'll tell you, the fans love the training camp footage, the content, everything that comes from it. So it is a part of the experience. It's a part of the whole package, and this city certainly does the passion part of it certainly well. I want to shift real quick to A.J. Brown, another talk of the town. He made the big play. I think it was E.J. Smith who we had on Sports Take earlier this week, he couldn't emphasize enough how big and powerful A.J. Brown looked in pads. And I just want to give you the opportunity to touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, AJ is a great player, and he's going to be such a big part of this offense. I mean, it's amazing how much they've targeted him in training camp. You can tell. I mean, he's going to be the focus of this passing offense. The game planning is going to start with number 11. They're trying to get him the football in a multitude of ways. I've seen him used in sort of slip screens and slants, deep balls, end arounds, every way they can get the football in his hands. And, a big part of Jalen Hurts' struggles last year were his inability to throw the football over the middle of the field. With this, between him and Dallas Goedert, you got these two big, huge targets who just make it more comfortable for you to throw in sort of high traffic areas. So, yeah, I mean, he's a great player. Eagles fans are going to love him. And he is, when he gets the ball in his hands, when you're accurate and say you hit him on the slant and he doesn't have to adjust to catch it and he's just chugging along, he is tough to bring down. especially for corners who are obviously giving up 20 pounds for him, to him. He's the best receiver that's been in Philadelphia probably since Terrell Owens.
Yeah, and the reason I just think he fits for put Jalen Hurts' deficiencies to the side for a second. I just think he fits this offense in terms of if Jalen needs a guy to get his hands out there and maybe save him on an errant pattern and go get the ball. I just look at AJ as that physical wideout that can go and do that when we need him to.
Yeah, I mean he is, and one of the positives, underrated positives in my mind, is the fact that he comes from a run-first offense in Tennessee, which built around Derrick Henry, and he's never been the kind of guy who complains. There's a lot of receivers who complain, especially if they're as talented to AJ, and they want 1,400, 1,500 passing yards. He doesn't. He's okay doing the dirty work, and he's he's powerful enough to be blocking on those RPOs, and that's going to help. He was a great acquisition for this particular team, and he's a great player. And we'll see how they complement Devontae Smith, because it's, in training camp, and I talked to Nick Sirianni. I asked Nick that before the practice. It's been AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert. At some point, as good as those players are, and Nick even said in the same press conference, if you don't move it around, you become easy to game plan for. So the Eagles got to find a way to get Devontae Smith involved when he gets back. Obviously, he's out now with a groin. Quez Watkins as well. So they do have to get other people involved. But it's nice when you get to start with A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert as well.
Yeah, I do want to ask, because I saw Brandon Lee Gowton tweet, and I don't know the exact wording, so I don't want to butcher it, but Brandon Lee Gowton from Bleeding Green Nation put out a tweet. I think it was either the Saturday or the Friday or the Thursday practice. You guys were down there, and it was, all Jalen Hurts does is target A.J. Brown. That's great because he's a great receiver. Do you see that being a potential problem? One of those things where it's...
Yeah, I've been talking about it for a while. It's actually two. It's Dallas and A.J. Dallas, I think coming into tonight, Dallas actually had I think it was 30-27. But it's those two guys. It's those two guys that it's been really, really, with the first team, really heavy, even when Devontae was healthy. And that's a little bit of a concern to me, because Devontae's a really good player as well. And you want to find a way to get him the football. And I think that's where the coaching staff needs to be disciplined. Because the modern NFL, I think a lot of people get caught in the progressions and old school Joe Montana. That really doesn't exist. I mean, there's a couple guys, Aaron, obviously Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, these veteran quarterbacks. But the younger quarterbacks, they're trying to sort of build on what they did in college. And that's more of half-field reads. And you have sort of two progressions. And so the Eagles got to be careful. It can't be AJ and Dallas all the time, as good as they are. You got to make sure you got to be disciplined, and you got to make Devontae Smith the primary target, Quez Watkins the primary target on occasion to keep the defense honest.
Yeah, and if you're just tuning in to football 24/7, Jalen Hurts had a beautiful 30-plus yard throw to A.J. Brown, streaking up the right side of practice tonight. Just beautiful throw and catch, and it's all over social media if you haven't seen it. John, real quick, and we can keep this brief. What did you see from the defense tonight? Good, bad, ugly, and I just want to throw one more thing in. From my point of view, that guy, Hassan Reddick, looks like a tank, and I just think he's going to be such a big impact for this team. What did you see on the defense tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the pass rush was really good, and even some lesser guys that you don't think about, Teron Jackson, Patrick Johnson, obviously Hassan Reddick. Yeah, he is very, very quick and very twitchy is the term used by, I think it was Lane Johnson today. He's the Eagles haven't had an edge rusher with double-digit sacks since Connor Barwin. So it's been a while. He's going to be that guy. He's just a tremendous pass rusher. So they did a good job, and they should have, because, as we mentioned, all the troubles at left tackle. But in the run game, they took a step back, and maybe they were a little surprised, because typically you don't see training camp practices heavy on the run game. So,
right.
Maybe I can give them a pass from that aspect. You don't typically see the run game be such a big part of the controlled atmosphere, which practice is. And I think the Eagles just wanted to get a spark. Like I said, I think Nick Sirianni wanted a spark, and Jalen Hurts gave it to him in that run game.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time how athletic and good of a runner Jalen Hurts is. So we know, yeah. I mean, he's tremendous. He's as good as anyone in that park. Well, all right, John. Sounds like it was a pretty good practice down there tonight. I love the idea to bring the fans in. I think it's a great thing. It's a great way our passionate city can show support for the team. I know you're still hung up on the 50K, but I'll still pass.
Well, I can't forget.
Yeah, no,
That's the problem. I can't forget the 50K, but it's natural because it was new. It was new back then. And it was also free. So now it's not free. Now the Eagles, it's $10 to get in. It's for a good cause in the Eagles Autism Foundation. But I mean, there is a difference between free and you got to pay $10, yep, especially if you're bringing along a family. So that probably plays into it as well. You're right. I'm just jaded, Sandra. You know.
John, last thing. Give me the game ball for the night. Is it who I think?
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts. I mean, he was. If somebody, I believe I saw it somewhere, and I give him credit, but I don't remember. If you see the RPO where he just shakes Brandon Graham out of his jock, I mean, take a look at it, because it is a tremendous play. And as I said, BG just turned around and started applauding. It was such a great run. So, hey, we all talk about the passing game. I've been saying it for about a week and a half now. You know what? Build around what Jalen Hurts does really well. And the Eagles did that today in this practice. And I hope they do it during the entire season, to be honest.
It might be a glimpse of what's to come this season. And as long as they're winning football games, I think the city will like it. Now, the front office, that's a whole new conversation. And I'll let you and Jody Mack beat that point up on Birds 365 in the morning. John, well done by you, my friend. Good day down at the Lincoln Financial Field, giving everyone the updates here on the JAKIB channel. I appreciate it, sir. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, Sander. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.